Awesome. So, hello, it's Hud from Hudson Lee here, and I'm talking to Jake Helgren, writer and director of Varsity Blood. Hey, Jake,
Hi.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks. And you're in Germany at the moment.
I'm in Berlin at the moment,
Cool.
yes.
Writing away, hopefully, for.
I'm working on some thrillers and some disaster movies for television right now.
Excellent. Excellent. So, for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know, can you tell us what Varsity Blood is about?
Varsity Blood is an homage to 80s slasher films. We structured it in a way that it is basically like an 80s slasher film. We just wanted to do something very old school, not postmodern, that was just kind of a throwback to the slasher films of the 80s. And it's about a group of jocks and cheerleaders who have a past, dark past, wrongdoing. That they committed a year before on Halloween. A cheerleader died in a stunt accident, and the next year, someone dressed as their high school mascot comes and starts stalking them and killing them off one by one.
Cool. Just what we like. And I read that it's filmed at the same high school they use for Varsity Blues, which is incidentally your old high school.
Yeah, it was my high school. I was actually a cheerleader in Varsity Blues.
All right.
um, Back in high school, I was a cheerleader, so this is all very familiar territory for me. And we shot that film when I was in high school. I was just an extra in it, and so when I came up with the concept for Varsity Blood, I always thought it would be great to film in my old high school. However, we ended up shooting Bloody Homecoming there first, and we came back and used it again for Varsity Blood.
Okay. And how did your old high school react to a former student of theirs returning to shoot such a film of this kind, shall we say?
They're very supportive. Of course, they don't want to have anything gratuitous or anything that makes them look badly.
Mhm.
So that was just something that they trusted me with, and they were very supportive. They've been really great.
Excellent. Cool. So it's an ode to the slasher films of old, so early '80s, and you can really feel that from the look and the vibe of it, and then the shots you use. Was
Yeah.
there anything from that era that you particularly were hell bent on getting into the film?
Um, I mean, there's lots of little things. The film ends with kind of a direct nod to Friday the 13th and Halloween, kind of a combination of the two, but there's lots of 80s slasher films that are brought into to play. Stage Fright from the Italian film Stage Fright from 1987. I kind of structured that where like all the carnage happens in the inn. So that was something that I like to play with, where it's kind of like one long chase throughout the final act and
Hmm.
lots of action happening, which proved to be very difficult when filming, and a lot more arduous than it was in, say, Bloody Homecoming. There's a lot more action and a lot more things going on. But yeah, there's lots of films that I can't think of. There's lots of Friday the 13th. Multiple of Friday the 13th sequels are even kind of, there's nods to those films
Yeah.
in the film as well.
Yeah, I got a strong Friday the 13th 3 vibe from the creepy old house and the barn and the.
Yeah, yeah, we actually found this amazing location in this very small town outside of Elgin that had this old house, and it was bought by this rich family who moved this old house onto their property because it was just this incredible old house with a
Mm.
nice big pond behind it. And we found it, and we were like, "Oh, this has to be the location. This is the Williamson farmhouse." So yeah, that was perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
the
also, I forgot to mention Prowler. There's a few. There's actually one specific shot that was a direct nod to Prowler with the pitchfork, and yeah, there's some other things that I could probably come up with 100 more, but that one
Yeah,
just
I screen capped that particular shot earlier, so it will appear gratuitously in the review that will follow. So, for the benefit of anyone who hasn't seen it, the house is supremely creepy. So we've got all these teenagers running around it. How did you find herding? Because it's quite a big cast, I think, that you take out to the house. How did you find herding all of them to your whim?
It was the cast and crew. Everyone was on location. I unfortunately had a very bad case of the flu during the majority of filming. So I was being a first time director and having the flu at the same time was awful. But the crew was very wonderful, and every time I was going outside into the freezing, it was freezing weather in Texas when we were shooting this film. It was the coldest it's ever been in Texas, and I felt even worse for the poor cheerleaders running around in their skimpy skirts. But I was lucky enough to have a crew. The costume designer DJ would bring this giant fur coat out to me anytime I was going out into the freezing cold. He's shrouding me in this thing, which was great. But most of the crew, myself and the first AD excluded because I had to get off set and rest. But most of them stayed on set. We had some of them were in the farmhouse, some of them were in the couple who owned the property, and a lot of them were in their house. They had a really nice big house just around the corner, and so a lot of them were there as well. And so it was like camping out for most of them. Most of them we wrapped usually at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. as the sun's coming up, and a lot of them were staying up drinking into the wee hours of the sunlight. So it was a good experience. Everyone had a lot of fun shooting this film.
And you'd do it again based on the experience? Varsity Blood 2?
I wouldn't want to do another film in the freezing cold. No. and I wouldn't want to experience having the flu again on a film set. But yeah, those things aside, it was a lot of fun, and I'd be happy to do it again.
Excellent. So slightly off topic then. It's an homage to all the things you and I love from the 80s. In terms of contemporary modern horror, what are a few things that you didn't put in that you'd kind of like to see go from horror? Get out.
We've been getting mixed reviews in the film so far. It's unfortunate because one thing that we didn't get chastised for at all on Bloody Homecoming is that all the characters are very likable, and you kind of are rooting for all of them. And with Varsity Blood, we wanted to do something a little bit different. And so there are some more mean, bitchy characters in the film, and we wanted to kind of play that up a little bit, but also have characters that you can relate to. So it's kind of unfortunate that some people are only seeing the more nasty characters as being overwhelming the film, and because we really wanted to have some likable characters in there, and I definitely tried to have some with Hannah, the lead, and then Heather and Robin, two of her closer friends in the film, tried to make likable characters. So it's kind of supposed to be a mix, and it's unfortunate because I do hate, to parlaying into what you said, I hate slasher films where all the characters are despicable. And a lot of these more recent modern slashers that have been made, most of the characters are quite despicable. So we wanted to have some that were likable as well. So that's one thing I would like to see go. Unfortunately, something these days you can't avoid with a slasher film is the usage of cell phones. Cell phones exist nowadays, so you always have to have this horribly cliche, we're not getting searched here, or whatever, And in Bloody Homecoming, we did something kind of fun where it's like, I left my cell phone in my purse, because they're at the dance. But with Varsity Blood, we had to have this moment where cell phones don't work, and I hate that as well, but it's something that has to be done nowadays.
Yeah.
So
definitely, we can't rewind quite that far, unfortunately, I suppose. But maybe in the future you can set one in the 80s as well, and then
we thought about doing that. We did consider doing that, but it's just something that I didn't want to deal with, like the makeup and the hair and all the things that come along.
The day glow.
The cheerleading uniforms in the 80s weren't so cute, so I didn't think it would have been as nice looking as it was if we set it at contemporary times.
Excellent. Cool. So, in terms of horror and slasher films, or whatever, what's next for you in that arena?
Um, well, I have a film that's in early stage. Well, I wouldn't say early stages of development. We're hoping it will shoot in October, but it's called Terror Birds, and it's a sci-fi creature feature. So it's not really horror. It's a lot of action and terror and thrills and things like this. But it's not a direct horror film per se. We're also working on a thriller that might be directed more for television. Not really sure yet. Called 10-Year Reunion, which is kind of similar to Valentine in some respects. It's about like a girl died back in high school, and now these girls are coming back together for the 10-year reunion, and they start to suspect that she might have been murdered. So there are some influences from the slasher genre in there. However, it's not a slasher film per se. We've talked about doing another horror film, another slasher film, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of money in it right now, and it's difficult. So it's something that we do because we love doing it, but it's not something that you're going to make a lot of money on, unfortunately.
Yes.
But
Cool. Well, I had a lot of fun with it. It's the most fun I've seen in a straight up slasher film in some time, actually. I mean, I was saying to someone recently that it seems ages since I've seen just a dead teenager movie. So this hits the spot. So I will recommend it. And which brings me to my last question, which is, can you indulge me and have a shot at doing an English accent?
right, well, I'm not really sure how to. I have been told that my British accent is quite terrible and that I should never. So, I don't know if I should indulge you in such things, but yeah, it's bad.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it there though. So, okay, Jake Helgren, thank you very much. Varsity Blood, you can get it now.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.